Hey everyone, it's Wes Spencer coming at you again with another video. We're going to be talking about Pi cryptocurrency once again in this video, and I'm going to talk about what is the rage in communication right now around it, which is KYC, or at least what everyone is calling KYC. What is KYC? Why does it matter? What implications does it have for you? And should you get in on the hype train of Pi cryptocurrency? We're going to cover all of that coming right up. As I promised, we are going to cover Pi cryptocurrency again. Now, if we have never met before, my name is Wes Spencer. Welcome to my channel where we talk about all things innovation and innovative technologies, including cryptocurrencies. Now, crypto is not the only thing that I talk about, but I have been so fascinated about this over really since the past 10 years or more that I just can't get enough of what cryptocurrencies are doing for all of us and where this world is going. So this is a big piece of what I like to cover. You know, one of the things I did in my community on YouTube, and if you're not a subscriber, will you do me a favor, hit the subscribe button now. It's not just so you can get notified of new videos, it's also because I do produce some content inside of my community that you will only see if you're a subscriber. Now, one of the things I did ask was this question: what do you want me to cover? Do you want me to get out of Pi crypto and go to something else? Or do you want me to cover another Pi video? Well, 100% go back to Pi. Okay, I'm hearing you, so we're gonna cover that. The big thing I think we really need to cover is know your customer, or KYC. See, this has been red hot and alive, and all everyone's been talking about in the circles of Pi lately. What is it? What is the ramifications? And really, can I trust the whole process? This is something that I think we need to answer. Now, one quick disclaimer here. I have not been approved into KYC by the Pi team. Yo, Pi team, why not? I'll tell you probably why not. I've been pretty honest with Pi. There's a ton of like scammy or just, I don't know, just lots of bloat videos that are going on around Pi. And if you look at like all the comments that are just blowing up in my Pi videos, most of them are just, hey, here's my referral code, just join in. I don't think they're even watching my video. I think they're just saying, hey, yo, here's my referral code, go sign up now under me. That's literally just a cash grab or a green space that they're grabbing for. I don't think they even watch my video. So I've got a test. If you are watching this video, let me know when you put your referral code in the comments down below. Say, hey, I actually watched the video. This is proof of it. I'm saying it right now, because I think when you scroll through and you see the hundreds of comments that are coming up, probably you're going to see no one's really even watching this that's commenting. They just are searching for Pi crypto and they're popping a comment in. That's a problem. I have been covering a lot of the problems in Pi crypto. I've been pretty honest. I've told you what I think. I don't trust them. I don't trust the direction of where it's going fully. And the reason for it is not because I don't know and trust the people that are creating it, although that's part of it. More than that, I think crypto should really be an open ecosystem. I mean, that's the way Satoshi created Bitcoin in the first place, and all of the major cryptocurrencies that are used today heavily are very open. If they're not open source, they at least have a white paper that really talks about it a lot more. There's a wallet that you can look at and the code behind the wallet, and there's also a lot of information around the blockchain itself. Pi has none of that. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just me saying, in my world of being a security practitioner, I don't really trust but verify. I really don't trust at all. I want to verify, verify, verify. So I would definitely say I've not been super just on the hype train of Pi. I've tried to be pretty even-minded about it. I am mining. I am still mining a lot. I think it's interesting where it's going. As one commenter said earlier, hey, there's no risk to you to try this. By and large, I think that's true. And so because of that, I am interested to see where Pi goes, and you can continue to rely on me as your source of information that's going to be non-biased, that is about as even-minded as possible in where Pi is going. Because personally, I don't need Pi to take off for my world to be happy. It's okay if this thing crashes and burns. We can learn from it and see what we can do to iterate in a better way. So, KYC. This is what I want to cover. Everybody's been raging on what KYC is going to be about. If you check the Reddit forums especially, I think that's where you get a lot of unadulterated and even-minded content and discussion going on across the board on is this good, is this bad? There's some things we know about KYC. One thing that we know about KYC is this: it seems that the Pi team has settled on using Yoti. And so we're going to talk about Yoti, who they are, what this is all about, can we trust Yoti, and what's this implicating for us as users in the Pi system. We're going to dive into that. The other thing I wanted to talk about too that I think is equally important is this. We're not really talking about KYC. When we say KYC, we're talking about know your customer. This is a financial term. See, I come out of banking in my prior life, and I can tell you when it comes to KYC, this is a term that we have to have in place that builds a program to say we are identifying our customers. And banks go through a lot of processes around this. They're usually very physical in the things that they're looking at. And Pi has to do the same thing. So we're not actually talking about KYC, we're talking about identity management. Who are the identities? How can we make sure that they're not fraudulent or duplicates? Because if they are, they damage the trust ecosystem involved inside of Pi. Now, why is that important? And why do you not see such a big focus on identity management in things like Bitcoin? Well, this goes back to a lot of the other videos I've produced around Pi. Pi is different. It is a closed ecosystem and it does rely on trust, and it's a centralized system, not a decentralized system. So when Bitcoin was created, Satoshi had this idea of creating a decentralized crypto environment that allowed for decentralized peers to share and be motivated into a financial ecosystem. Pi could really not be much more opposite than that. It uses Byzantine Federated Trust, or BFT. We are not talking about BFT in this video, except to say that BFT is built around identity and trust. And so there's a lot of ways you can check those identities. The way that Pi is doing it right now is a phone number verification and a Facebook verification. But what do you and I both know? We know those are pretty easy to fake. With some bots at your command, you can very easily create a bunch of identities in Pi and just start tapping into that Pi faucet and start creating bigger groups of trust circles that are really fake from the get-go and are building tons and tons and tons of Pi to get ahead. Now, the Pi creators are aware of this. They've talked about from the very beginning, and I will be fair to them on this, that they have said, we want to go into a better, more robust KYC environment. And the reason that they're doing that is because it's important for them to say, as this thing grows, as Pi cryptocurrency grows, we want to eliminate and remove the possibility of counterfeit in the system because it's based on trust. That is a requirement of BFT, which is what Pi uses. So now that I've said that, I've gone through my nerd talk because I know there's enough of you nerds that watch my videos that are like me and want to know why. Let's talk about Yoti itself. So there's some interesting things about Yoti, and I'm actually going to take you through a process. This is not, don't think of this process as an official way to vet a company, but I do want to give you some thought processes that I like to use as I'm vetting to say, is this legitimate? Is this fake? Because there's been a lot of, honestly, pretty reasonable debate in the hype trains and circles. Can I trust Yoti for my identity verification and management? It's a good question. So what do we know about them? Well, let's dive in. I'm going to look at some stuff right here on the computer, and you're going to see some things about them. One of the things I like to do is actually dive into what LinkedIn says. And the reason I do this is because LinkedIn can really give us some information about a company that's kind of hard to fake, and you don't see a lot of fraudsters really doing this. So a few things that show up, we do know this is a UK-based company. They're out of London. They've actually got 7,000 followers. I mean, that's pretty good, right? Especially in the world of LinkedIn. So that really does tell you that there's significant attention and usage inside of the Yoti platform. You can also see 230 LinkedIn followers. Now, I know that those things can be faked, but when you look at the people that are here and you start looking and diving into a lot of this, yes, this is a UK/Indian company. Nothing wrong with that. That is good, but you can see the users here. They are legitimate. You can even see some folks like this, the co-founder and CEO here listed, paying for LinkedIn Premium. You can see that it looks like he has a legitimate connection, a legitimate setup inside of LinkedIn. So this is good for us. As we're doing some just high-level research, we can tell that they are legitimate. They do appear to be real. The other thing that we can do is we can look up on Crunchbase as well. And so I'm going to show this to you. Crunchbase's platform is really good for startup companies and technology companies. And you can see what's listed in here. They've had $16 million in funding, two investors over a few different rounds. So there's a lot of information around here. So we can say at a high level, Yoti is not a fly-by-night fake shell company that's been stood up. We know it's legitimate. We know it's real, at least at a high level. Now, again, I know there's more due diligence that we could perform on Yoti, but I just want to give you a quick 30-second view of how I interpret and look at different companies often to see, is it real, is it legitimate, and what else do we know about it? So that is pretty helpful for us at the very beginning to say, it looks like Yoti's real. As a UK-based company, it looks like they are legitimate. Does it matter that they're based in the UK versus like Silicon Valley or elsewhere? I mean, for me as an American, not really. I don't care too much about it, but I actually understand from people from other countries, let's be honest, some of the Silicon Valley companies haven't done such a good job with data privacy from the get-go, have they? I mean, Facebook, Amazon, and some others have really been kind of messy with data privacy. So I kind of personally understand how the rest of the world would say, I like that Yoti is not based in the US. I understand that sentiment, actually. I think it actually makes some sense. And so it's good to see that they are probably under the data privacy laws around GDPR and how all of that is protected. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. Yoti is a real company. Real business clients, been in business for a number of years. They do have investors. They are off the ground. They are as legitimate as a business their size and complexity would be. So that's a really good thing. So what is Yoti as a company doing? Well, they're in the identity management and verification trade. I mean, that's who they are. And there are other companies that do the same thing, but when we look at their website, you can see how they do this. They're doing things around checking identification data, using biometric data from a phone video that you take to analyze your face and make sure there's not duplicates involved. They have a number of systems and things they're doing in place. They have a number of things and systems in place that they use to do identity management and verification. This is who they are and what they're good at. So it makes sense that the Pi team would choose these guys for handling all this themselves. They definitely don't want to get involved in doing that themselves. Way too much tech debt that would be involved to build that out. Might as well apply and use somebody else. We do know there's early adopters. You can see some of those videos on YouTube that are setting up Yoti and authenticating that into Pi Crypto. So we know it's off the ground. We know it's being used. That's great. Another question though that happens to come up often is, okay, I get that Yoti's real and legit, but how does the whole process work and how do I know it's trustworthy? Well, there's some things that are packed into all that. First of all, we can't for sure say it's trustworthy, right? I mean, can you say Facebook's trustworthy? Like I mentioned a minute ago, it may be a legitimate company, but how much can we trust them? Same goes with Yoti or really any other company. Again, I'm not a fan of trust but verify. I'm really a fan of verify, 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 as I said at the beginning of the video. But there are some things that bode well for us that I think are important, and I want to show some of those things to you. If I actually go back again to their website, and this time I'm going to go over to their help pages. They've got a lot of information around their cybersecurity programs, their data privacy. I have personally looked at and reviewed their privacy policy. I have some thoughts on that in a minute, but there's a lot of information here that does give you some things that I think are helpful. So first of all, they are regulated. That is a good thing in the sense that it's nice to know that you have some kind of state or federal regulators that have some oversight into how everything is working. Now, not all of these are federal, state level, government level regulators, but many of them are. So it's good to see some of that that's in place. I'm not doing the due diligence now to look into every single one of those, and nor would I be able to, but it is good to see some of that in place. You can also look through a lot of the general FAQs and you see a lot of things that are involved in all of this around the security perspective, and they've honestly done a very good job answering the primary questions that I would ask in the due diligence phases of vetting a company out. By the way, I do this a lot. Remember, I'm a CISO by trade, a Chief Information Security Officer, so I spend a lot of time in doing these kinds of things with the companies that I work with. And so you see some things that I think are good. I'm not going to dive into all of this, but I am going to say at a high level, when you look through this, they're doing a lot of the things in place that are important around building a mature cybersecurity program that includes code audits, penetration testing, third-party audits and verifications that go into it. They are doing containerized based encrypted security for every data store, for every user. These are all good things. Now, can I say all of that for sure? Have I looked at everything they're doing to authenticate it personally? No. but I can just tell you, having looked at what they're doing and what I see in front of all of this, they're doing the right things, the things in motion that they should be doing that should inspire some confidence. Again, trust but verify, you're gonna have to choose with Yoti if you wanna do that. I'm just saying at a high level, it does appear that the things in motion that are important for data privacy are being considered. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the privacy policy. Now, I will say Yoti's privacy policy is pretty lightweight. I've seen some much more in-depth ones from larger companies that are out there. The privacy policy does show the things you'd expect: the right to privacy, the right to forget, the right to contest, all of those things inside of GDPR that are important, so that's a good thing. I'm not going to dive into all the nerdyology around GDPR and privacy of their customers and their customer information. I will just say the privacy policy, it'll float. It does hold water, but it is kind of lightweight, and that's okay. I've seen plenty that are that way as well. So I think it's intentionally written that way, but from the government side of the house, it does check the boxes that need to be checked. Okay. So last thing I want to talk about is how the process works. I'm not going to show it to you because, again, Pi, you have not let me into this yet. If you do, I will make a video showing how the KYC process works. My username is Pez Dispenser, so I'm only waiting on you. I'll put a link to that in the comments down below if you want to add me in. I am happy to do a YouTube video and give you some promotion around how the KYC process works and overall my opinions around it. But there's a lot of things that happen on the Yoti side that they're doing to identify and do the verification. So you're going to see things like taking pictures of your IDs, which they do some checking for all of that, looking at the picture verifications, combining that with some of their own algorithms of the video of yourself that you would upload, from like your phone, where you would send that into them to make sure that this is not a duplicate process, to make sure this is a unique individual human that's not gone through this process before. They do all of that. And then what happens is that data is stored with Yoti for 30 days, or maybe shorter, but on general 30 days while they're building that verification check. When that verification check is done, a lot of the picture data and those biometric stuff goes away. They've moved you into a class of being verified, so to speak, and they keep certain things like your name, your date of birth, your given name, last name, a lot of those things that are involved. And then what they can do is they store that in an encrypted store that you can then use to say, I am a Yoti verified user, and I am going to share that proof of verification with third parties, which in this case would be who? Yes, you guessed it, Pi. And so what I can do is once Yoti has verified me, I can then share that information to the Pi team inside of the app once you have been verified and able to do that by Pi. And that's just their way of saying, hey, we trust you in the Pi system as being verified by an independent third party, which is Yoti. So that's kind of how the process works. And I will say a huge plus to Yoti in that they do show you and let you know this is the information I'm passing over to the third party, in this case, Pi. And so I wrote some notes down of what is currently being passed. And I will say this, make sure you verify this, because this could change, I suppose, at some point in time, but some things that will be passed from Yoti about you and your information over into the Pi team, I wrote some of these things down. It's going to be some things like your date of birth, your first name, your given name, your last name, your phone number. Now, Pi actually has most of that outside of your date of birth, so just be aware of it. If you're not comfortable with that, then know your customer or identity verification is not for you. Don't set it up, don't use it. But if you're okay with that, then Pi should be okay for you, should be okay for you to do. So that is how the process works. Let me give you some feedback and opinions. Do I think that I would trust Yoti in this whole process? Yes, I would. I did a video a while back. I'll put a comment if you want to see it around UBIC. It's a different cryptocurrency that was handling how do I do this whole identity check. And I told you at the end of that video, I would not trust the process. Now it was doing some super innovative things around how it uses the passport and the NFC data in it to verify. And by the way, Yoti has some of the same capabilities. It's just that that is a different company or different group rather. It's Chinese built. I just don't have the trust in UBIC. Do I have the trust in Yoti? Yes. I have done enough vetting to where I think I understand who they are and I can make a reasonable, risk-informed decision to say I would trust them with this information. I am okay to do so, and I'm okay to do that to send it over to Pi to verify myself. So that's a good thing. Now, Pi has some things they're going to have to work through. Are all millions of users in Pi going to have to go through identity management and verification? Yes, in some ways. Are all of them going to go through Yoti? I doubt it. I mean, think about it. Yodi's expensive. It's over $1 US per identity verification. That's millions of dollars right then and there. So I kind of wonder if Pi is just going to use Yodi for the short term, as they said, for the first 50 to 100,000 users, open that up, make sure it works, and then turn it off and just go back to an old system of identity verification or something in-house or something else that's open source. I don't know. They haven't told us yet. But I don't think the Yodi thing is completely scalable as a solution long term unless the end users are willing to pay for it. And let's be honest, Pi is going to have a real value proposition to get their users to want to pay some money to verify themselves to get into the Pi system. Maybe that's to get access to the Pi wallet. I'm not sure, but that's another hurdle they're going to have to go through. Hey, what do you think about this video? Did you learn anything about Pi, anything about Yodi? Do you have more trust, less trust? Will you leave me a comment down below? I love comments. I respond to every single comment that comes in. So leave a comment down below if it's a question, or if you just want to be one of those people that says, here's my referral code, pop it in. I'm not going to stop you from doing it, but like I said, I hope you watched the video. I hope this has been helpful. The last thing you can do to pay me back on this video, just hit the subscribe button, just hit the like button. Both of those will mean the world to me, helps me grow my subscription and my content. YouTube, have an awesome day. Thanks for watching. We will see you later.